Hey friends, Pastor David here with this week's Midweek Minute. So this past weekend, we started a new sermon series that I'm calling We Worship Because. To kind of get us started in that series, I picked up some things that we talked about last week, which was to realize that the world that we live in is pretty crazy these days. And if you just take the last month of our experience here in Western Pennsylvania, there's been any number of shootings. There's been a 9-year-old that was brutally murdered. And then we learned about 4 bodies of infants that were found in a home that a person had killed. And then 3 police officers that were shot in York and 2 others critically injured. And we talked a little bit about why all of that is happening. What's the cause of all of that? And there are things that we can all probably agree on, in that, the selfish use of firearms, the sensationalism of media, the power of social media itself to kind of influence how we think and what we say to one another. But if you boil all that down and try to get to the real root cause, Jesus says it's a heart issue. Jesus says that what comes out of the heart is what you see coming out of the mouth. It's what's visible in our lives, is what's in our hearts. So the first step that we need to take to understand the power of worship within our lives and within the life of the church is to recognize that our hearts need cleaned up a bit. And it's not just a few people's hearts, it's all of our hearts, including this pastor's heart. My heart is not completely aligned with Jesus. And so many others, I think, would say the same thing. Part of where renewal of the heart starts is at the altar, is at a moment to take a look at what are we worshiping? What's the core truth that motivates our lives? We can say that we have love and devotion for a lot of things in our lives. We might even say that the primary object of our love and devotion is our spouse or our kids or our job or success, a number of things like that. But when we look at Jesus, the primary motivation for Jesus' life was love and devotion to his Father, which then led him to surrender his life to the purposes of his Father. I think all of us, to experience renewal of our hearts, we have to take a look at what is the primary object of our love and devotion. I think we have to take a look at that as a church too. What's the primary object of our love and devotion? Is it success? Is it growth? Is it more and more people? Or is it loving God? Like Jesus says, God deserves to be loved with our heart and our soul and our mind and our strength. And when we love God like that, it flows over into loving our neighbor, just exactly the way that God loves us and that we love God. My challenge to us this week was, before you engage things in the world, before you respond to that post on Facebook, before you try to engage that conversation that you've walked into, before you choose to share what your heart or what your feeling is about something, check your heart. Check your heart. Does your heart align with what Jesus wants it to be when you respond to those things? Or are you responding from some other altar that you might be bowed down to? I ended with a quote from Eric Liddell that just speaks powerfully to me. He said, "We are all missionaries. We either draw people to Christ or we repel people from Christ." Think about that this week, because it all starts in our hearts. The second message in this series, as we start to look at the character of God. Because why do we worship? Because of who God is. And once we get to know who God is, then we're going to be able to worship in it from a deeper place. And so we're going to talk a little bit this week about God as the first and the last, the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega. We'll explore that a little bit and what it means for God to be that in your life and in my life and in the life of our church. Hope you can join us this weekend, either 6 o'clock Saturday night, 10:30 on Sunday morning, or in one of our online campuses. I hope you have a great week. Remember, keep looking up, and I'll see you later.